Guess you have to be there. Well, better get back to it.
King, any day now.
This guy has one drink. Coming. I did not play Destiny 1. I cannot compare Destiny 2 to Destiny 1. I will be judging this game solely on its own merit, and I'll tell you that I was not a fan. The thing that most people say in their Destiny 2 reviews, the first thing they mention before they get into the slew of negatives is, oh, the core gameplay is solid. Bungie's always had good gunplay, and I very much so disagree. When you are a first-person shooter in 2017 that runs in 30 frames per second, I count that as a serious drawback. People can deny all day long that frame rate makes a difference, and you will be wrong all 24 hours of that day. Destiny 2 is a very frantic, very fast-paced shooter with a lot of running, a lot of movement, a lot of turning, a lot of jumping, and enemies will swarm at you around from every angle, so you're constantly turning, you're constantly punching people, you're moving very quickly, and it gets very, very strainful on the eyes. Especially if you have astigmatism like me and you have trouble focusing to begin with. So when you need to turn the camera quickly to look over here, in a 60 frames per second game it goes woo, in a 30 frames per second game it goes duh, 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 duh. The fluidity and the smoothness is completely gone and replaced with laggy sluggishness. I've said it before and I'll say it again. 30 FPS in a first-person game is unacceptable. Makes the game feel old. Makes the game feel very old. Speaking of moving around, somebody explained to me how Call of Duty has a better jetpack than Destiny. The people who made Halo, who have had a jetpack in their game for several years now. We're all sick of Call of Duty having a jetpack at this point, but the simple tap X to jump and hold X to decide how long you want to have your jetpack, and the moment you release X, you fall back down. It gives you a very good control over where your jetpack takes you. In Destiny, the moment you double tap that X, you start floating. There is a set amount of time on your thrusters that will hold you in air, and you have no control over it, and there's a set timer, and when that timer's done, your jetpack turns off, and you drop back down. The only thing the jetpack is good for is giving you a little bit extra push when jumping across a gap. But if the platform you're trying to land on is very small and precise, the jetpack will make you overshoot it. Or if you're entering like a cave, like a hole that has like a ceiling to it, the jetpack will cause you to bump into the ceiling, bounce off, and fall back down. It is such a terrible jetpack that somehow an entire third of the Titan's skill tree is devoted to it. You have to spend skill points in an upgrade tree to change how your jetpack works. Even after you do that, it doesn't make it any good. It just changes the direction of the thrust. You can either shoot mostly up, shoot mostly forward, or hang in the air for a little bit. And it's either or. You don't get to do all of them. And that's a big problem with the skill tree on the whole, too. I didn't play the Hunter, I didn't play the Warlock, I don't know jack shit about them, but the Titan skill tree, there's your big special in the middle, and then there's 3 little offshoots, and each of those is entirely dedicated to one button. One of them is left bumper, grenade, one of them is holding down B, your shield, and the other is X for the jetpack. And each of the different points and offshoots to those are not upgrades, they are alternatives. You can choose between a sticky grenade or a grenade that explodes twice, or a magnetic grenade, pulse grenade, I don't remember what it did, but there were 3 different kinds of grenades that you had to spend skill points on, and you just get to pick one. You don't get to improve your grenade as a whole. Same for the shield. You can have like a full body shield, or you can have like a slightly curved shield that's like crouch height cover. Either or, you don't get both. So by picking a new ability, you discard the old one. And they're all so similar in execution and usefulness that it doesn't matter. And that's it, that's the whole skill tree. Other than that, all you get are different supers. Instead of a Captain America purple shield, you get like a lightning body slam, or the flaming hammer that I never got because I didn't play the game that long. It's a trash skill tree, and those are the only ways you interact with enemies other than shooting them. And while I was playing Destiny 2, it hit me just how much of a reskin of Halo this is. You got armored, shielded super soldiers in space fighting 5 different kinds of aliens that are all the same, and there's laser beams, and there's colors, and there's beautiful music, and there's some giant big thing in the background, a set piece as they used to call it in the good old times of IGN game reviews. And I realized that the sprint and the reload animations are just assets stolen from Halo, to the point where it plays like Halo 2. Since there's no real cover or shield mechanics, all you do is jump around with the jetpack and just try to stay mobile the whole time. And these sparrows are clearly copy-pasted ghosts from Halo. And the enemies all play exactly the same. They're all just a bunch of differently colored, different sized bullet sponges. The only variety I saw is that one of them has like a shield with a little diamond, where if you shoot it in the diamond enough, the shield will disappear. That's it. That's the most amount of mental challenge these enemies will give you. For an MMO where you have a fire team of 2 other people, this game is not about teamwork. This game is not about flanking. This game is not about tactics. This game is not about clever and innovative uses of powers in tandem with each other to create a cool effect and do maximum damage. This game is about emptying clip after clip after clip after clip after clip into a giant orange-colored enemy. This game is about bullet sponging. And punching, too. In this sci-fi universe that's like 500 years into the future, you have these fancy energy plasma weapons that somehow do less damage than me just punching them in the face. And I found myself just constantly sprinting at enemies, punching them in the face, and punching the next one, punch, punch, punch. So in the little character inventory screen in the menu, weapons are divided into 3 categories. You have energy weapons, you have kinetic weapons, and you have power weapons. Power weapons is like grenade launchers, shotguns, swords, sniper rifles, you know, stuff like that. The other 2 categories are made up of the exact same kind of weapon. Pulse rifles, auto rifles, submachine guns, and magnums, or little pistol things. You have the exact same kind of weapon as both your primary and your secondary. The only difference is one of them is bullets and the other is not. It's a pretty stupid way of dividing the weapons, to the point where I'm like, why bother switching to my other weapon? It's the same gun. Might as well just reload and stick with one. Different kinds of weapons are not good for different kinds of encounters. The only thing that matters is the attack power. The attack power is what raises your light level. Your light level is essentially your real level, because everybody's got a 20 above them, so that's meaningless as shit. So it's like, why bother even having 3 weapons if the primary and secondary are going to be the same thing? And something else about immersion in this world is being 500 years in the future, the only thing we can think of are pistols, shotguns. It's the same classes of weapons that we have now in real life. You have a future M4, you have a future MP5, you have a future 357 Magnum. It's the same classes of video game weapons, so that everybody can be familiar with them and everybody can pick it up really easily. We're 500 years in the future and this is what we've come up with. There's no portable shield gun that pops out a shield in front of you. There's no like net that throws electricity at someone and locks them in place. There's nothing like that at all. No creativity. It's just straight damage. The only kind of damage you're going to be doing to enemies other than shooting them with your gun and punching them with your knuckles is just a giant spam of AoE lightning particle fire effects. The only kind of weapon class I never encountered was an LMG, which would make the most amount of sense for the kind of encounters we have, which is dozens of enemies just running at you, to the point where it was like, okay, let's just cut the reload and just mow them all down. Enemies are always so up close and in your face, and your character doesn't have like a sword in their suit or anything, to the point where we're like, why are we even using guns? Everybody's always just bum rushing me and getting all around me, and I always end up running into the fray and punching everybody over and over and over again. And I find myself asking, why is this even a shooter? It's like, oh, it's because we can use Halo's engine and save a lot of time and money. They did nothing to make this gunplay stand apart from any other sci-fi shooter. You run, you shoot, you punch, you reload. You shoot, you shoot, you shoot, you jump around, you fly around, you shoot, you shoot, you shoot, you shoot, you shoot. And you're going to be doing a lot because it throws a lot of enemies at you because they all have giant health bars, and it gets so repetitive and so tedious. So the thing that Destiny's supposedly all about is the loot, the loot, the loot. Everybody, whenever I'm playing with my brother and my friend, I'm on the mic, all I hear constantly is, oh sick, I got an exotic engram. Oh sick, I got a legendary engram. Oh shit, it's just a duplicate of something I already have. Well shit. When you have this kind of random loot drop system in a game, it's a complete crapshoot of whether or not you get something cool or good. And when it happens so frequently, and when damage is the only thing that matters, you are forced to just swap out whatever gun has the highest damage on it. So you have like 9 guns in your inventory, maybe you like that one, maybe this one looks cool, it doesn't matter. You have to use the one with the highest damage, or your light level will go down, and you'll be at a disadvantage in combat. And just like The Division, they reuse the same gun models. It's the same exact gun, shoots the exact same, looks the exact same, but 95 damage instead of 83. And it gave me that Breath of the Wild syndrome where I'm constantly swapping out new stuff so quickly that I have no creative input over. I just have to pick the best thing, to the point where I don't care about these guns anymore. I don't feel attached to them. None of them look cool. Some of them look really f***ing dumb. Damn it, said I was gonna go the whole review without swearing. See if we can go the whole rest of the review without swearing. Starting now. And it's the same thing with the armor. You pick up a new pair of boots, you pick up another set of gauntlets and another chest piece. And it's not organized by sets, it's organized by piece. So it's not like, oh, I have the Daedric Knight set. Oh, I have the Ferrum armor set. So you have a look at the uniformity too. You look like this cool decked out knight guy. It's not like that at all because it's random and it's by the piece and not the set. So you'll have like a yellow chest plate, a green helmet, brown gauntlets, and purple boots. And you'll look retarded. It's just a random ugly splat of color. And there are these one-time use shaders where you can color the armor piece, but why bother when you're gonna get a new one in 5 minutes? I don't understand why people like this system. And it makes the vendors back at the farm freaking useless, because you'll have this lady who sells you like a boots and a gun and everything, and you spend the glimmer or whatever, and then you're immediately replacing it. So I'm like, why bother? Don't even go back to the farm. Go back to talk to Zavala, whatever the hell his name is, to get the quest and then leave. So glimmer becomes a useless currency. So glimmer is just piling up and up and up. So there's no customization in this at all. It's not like finding a gun is a big deal, and now I'm gonna spend a lot of time upgrading this. Look at Fallout 4. Look at how they did gun mods. You have different barrels, you have different magazines, you have different grips, you have different sights. You can change the ammo type, you can change the butt stock. There's none of that. There's nothing. There's like one little slot for a gun mod, and then it's a one-time use. And again, no point spending the time because you're about to swap it out. And that's the RNG loot system that supposedly makes this game so addictive. Ooh, I can't wait to find another interchangeable duplicate of something I already got with different numbers on it just so I can swap it out for something else in 10 seconds. Take my money, take my $60. Visually, I think Destiny's a pretty bland game with some very muddy textures. It somehow is running in 1080p, because that's what everybody keeps telling me, that's what Digital Foundry says, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, this does not look as good as Battlefield 1. Battlefield 1 runs in 900p. It lets you know that resolution is not everything. Battlefield 1 also has high texture resolution, and Destiny 2 clearly doesn't. And don't give me that shit that Battlefield 1 isn't the kind of big sprawling MMORPG game that Destiny is. Battlefield 1 has maps that are pretty much as big as Destiny's worlds, and it has a hell of a lot more players in it, and they're all destructible. Battlefield 1 also ran in 60 frames per second most of the time. Maybe that's because they're using Frostbite 3 instead of whatever shit Halo 2 ran on. Does shit count as a swear? Shit doesn't count as a swear. That's not even that bad of a game. As long as I don't have swear words in the title, my video won't get demonetized. I'll just be like, I didn't like Destiny 2 instead of like, Destiny 2 is shit. I think the aliens are all very generic looking. There are supposedly 3 different kinds of aliens. There's Vex, Cabal, and Fallen, and I didn't even realize that until someone else told me. Nemesis was a cool world in concept art that the game was showing while I was downloading the gigantic install file, but when you're actually in it playing it, there's like this hazy, blurry green fog everywhere, and it makes the game look so bad. I really like the cubic kind of rectangular broken white rock look they had going for it, but there's so much hideous green everywhere. To the point where like the best looking area is freaking Earth, because there's pine trees and it looks like Earth. How is that for creative design? Alright, so everybody says Destiny 2's story is the reason it's such a big improvement over Destiny 1. Like I said, I can't comment. I can only talk about how this is one of the most generic defeat the villain trying to destroy the world plots I've seen in a video game. You have an alien race with a giant star killer base that's gonna suck up our sun if we don't destroy it, and he's gonna do it just cause he doesn't like us. At the beginning of the game, they just throw like cutscene after cutscene after cutscene after cutscene at you, and I'm like, skip, 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 skip. And it like right at the beginning of the game, in the first mission, it like takes away your light or whatever, which I guess is what they call the thing that gives the Guardians all 2 of their special abilities. The special ability is like having a jump pack, and it forces you through this long-ass, shitty-ass, boring-ass section where you move so damn slowly. It's like, what are you padding for right now? It's infuriating. What's the purpose of this? How is this fun? It's like, hey, you know how to make a very average game level super shitty? Take away your sprint button and force you to crawl the whole way. There's 5 minutes of my life that I will never get back. I am only on this earth for so long. Wasting someone's time is one of the worst things you can do. I am gonna be dead in 50 to 60 years, and I'm gonna look back at that 5 minutes, and I'm like, I could have spent that eating, could have spent that sleeping, could have spent that playing a different game, could have spent it talking to a girl, could have spent it hanging out with friends, could have spent it working and making money, but no, I had to spend it on Destiny 2. And it's playing this super over-dramatic, over-the-top, depressing music, and I'm like an hour into the game, I don't care about anything here. People are dead, characters are dead, and Nolan North is constantly going like, Guardian, the situation, it's so dire, we could die, everything is terrible, don't you hear the music, this is depressing. And it's supposed to be this grand emotional moment that felt completely flat and did nothing for me. I could be rooting for the villain for all I know, because all the side characters annoyed me so damn much with their stupid constant jokes, because this is the age of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and everything has to have a joke in every other damn line.
It's not murder, it's robots. Please come visit me again. Everyone I've ever known is dead, and their bones are dust.
Shut the f*** up! Failsafe annoyed the living shit out of me. Cade annoyed the living shit out of me. Just because you have Nathan Fillion in your game doesn't make up for the fact that the writing is awful. What is the point of this ghost? I'm a silent protagonist anyway. It's not like I have this companionship relationship with my little AI robot buddy. It's like, no, that's basically my character. Just they took my consciousness and my voice and stuck it in a little Cubulex thing, and he's basically a glorified version of that damn paperclip from Microsoft Word. And this game's campaign is so lazily designed. It's like we're gonna create a giant level and we're just gonna sprinkle enemies in it because that's how you make a campaign level, right? It worked in 2002, it'll work now, I guess, to the point where I was jumping past and sprinting past large sections of enemies and only stopped when the game forced me to. I did not have a single second of fun playing this game's story. And by the time I beat it, I was level 17 or 18, and then immediately I jumped up to level 20, to the point where I'm like, I just skipped past 2 levels. It just proves how artificial this leveling system, because when you're in Crucible, your level doesn't matter, the only thing that matters is your weapons. And really the only thing that does matter is your light level based on all the gear you've picked up and accumulated. And my brother, who I was playing with, who was kind enough to suffer through the story again with me because he wanted to level me up to 20 so we could supposedly do the fun stuff. Everybody I talked to kept saying it's like, oh, you gotta get through the story so you can get to the fun stuff. You gotta do the raid, you gotta do the strikes, you gotta do the Crucible. I'm like, okay, you are admitting to me, to my face, that the story is garbage and you want to get through it to do something else. If the story mode is so bad, why even have it? It's just 5 hours of level up grinding that I have to do before I can do any of the fun stuff. That fun stuff being shooting enemies over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you hold down the touchpad and you open the director and it shows all these little planets. You got the Crucible, you got the strikes, you got the raid, you got the tower, you got the farm, you got all these. There's this illusion of all these different game modes that all play exactly the same. And while you're pushing yourself through the story, every once in a while it'll stop you and say, nope, you need to level up for 3 levels. You need to grind before you can do the story. So I have to grind in the shitty public events before I can grind in the story, before I can do the fun stuff. It's like a list of chores. And it sucks! And it's all the same shit! Destiny 2 is kind of like a homework assignment. When the developers were making it, they're like, alright, we have this big project we gotta do. We gotta do all these different tasks, we gotta assign the people. You're gonna do the research, you're gonna do the mechanics, you're gonna do developing, it's gonna be great. Until they turn in the outline to Activision, they don't even look at it and they're like, yeah, whatever, they don't care. And then they realize that this homework assignment is not for points, and they stop caring. The supervisors at Bungie don't care because Activision doesn't care, so the people making it don't care because their supervisors don't care. Bungie doesn't care, Activision doesn't care, I didn't care, and you won't care. And the result of nobody caring is a run-of-the-mill, grindy, repetitive, tedious, boring first-person shooter that does nothing new at all. And I talked about the Taken King DLC thing before. I'm telling you, the lack of content is only like the 9th thing wrong with this game. I came out of Destiny 2 unimpressed and full of regret and wishing I didn't even have a YouTube channel so I would have no reason to spend any time on this piece of shit whatsoever. If I could describe this game in 2 words, it'd be exceedingly generic. The story's bad, the acting's bad.
But now walls mean nothing. This enemy has taken our home, taken our light, and now they threaten our very existence. We're going all in on this almighty. How long before the fleet's combat ready?
Zavala, wait.
If we wait, we die.
Zavala, wait.
I'm not even gonna mention how the AI is trash. or how it forces you to walk these long-ass sections that are clearly meant to be driven by a vehicle. Everything is boring, everything is bland, everything annoyed me, and I don't understand how anybody finds any enjoyment in this at all. And I'm giving Destiny a 4 out of 10.
You suck!
Why you make me do this? Stop buying and playing a shitty game so they become popular so I have to review them. Stop!
So,
Big red fire!
this literally looks like the last level of Halo 4.
Yeah. Halo 4 was pretty intense though. I hit a nuke. You did not play Halo 4.
Face me once.
I like Halo 3 better.
I like Halo 4 better.
Look upon me. Dominus of the Red Legion.
I didn't play Halo 5.
Annihilator
It's
of
for the Xbox One.
suns.
Look upon me! I am the villain! Villainy speech!
Gods and
Witness me!
No! Conqueror of the light.
I have become legend.
So declareth himself. He's throwing lightning bolts at me. No fair. No, he's just floating in the sky and throwing kamehamehas.
Yeah, when did he turn into a Dragon Ball villain?
You don't pity us enough to not kill us.
Nothing of sacrifice. Nothing of
That makes 2 of us. Now he's got a flaming sword. Alright, if you're gonna throw them, why are you making swords? If you have energy, make like arrows or... This makes... No. Ding.